To anyone out there, this is Sean Davis. It's March 10th, 2017, and I'm recording this video from Bellevue, Washington. I'm sitting on Lake Washington right now. I just wanted to share some quick thoughts about some stuff that's been going on. A little bit about me. I'm an immigrant. My family moved here in 1998 from South Africa. And so I feel like I might have a little bit of insight onto everything you've been reading about, or who you've been told to be scared of and who not to be and who to be. Just generally what to think about this. So I'll speak from my experience and mine alone. But when I came here, there's a lot of re-socialization that I had to undergo. And you could basically call it assimilation. And at the time, it was a struggle. I don't have an accent now, but I used to. So, it's physically a struggle to relearn how to say words. Things like not going to the supermarket barefoot, or drawing guns. Just drawing guns. That's something I had to learn not to do by the first grade. But at the end of all that, I think I've grown to appreciate this place as my home in a way that wouldn't have occurred, even though some of those things were silly, even though a little boy should be able to draw guns and not get in trouble or be told on. Just the act of deference, submission to a new set of rules, I think, is important. Because if that doesn't occur, let me put it this way: no one felt bad about telling me to sit down and shut up and put some shoes on, because to them I still actually looked like, I'll say it, I was still European looking, still am European looking. So it didn't feel weird for them, I think, to say, hey, one in Rome. But now what we're seeing is this sort of, no one's saying that to anyone anymore who comes into this country. Sit down, shut up, do your work. Because that would be offensive to that group or that religion. Now let me put it this way. Imagine if, knowing what we know about South Africa and its history and the way it's whiteys ruled, imagine if entire swarms of us came with our families, with our same ideas, our same ways of thinking and being, set up communities only with each other, set up churches only with each other, set up schools that weren't allowed to offend us or the history behind our culture. You would see a big issue. You'd see a big problem. You'd call it for what it is, and you'd say, hey, well, these 20,000 Afrikaners in our town are, they're saying some they don't seem to take kindly to those dark folk. And what I'm not saying is that all Afrikaners are even like that. What I am saying is that when groups are sort of allowed to fester in the worst of their ideas, those ideas take shape and they manifest themselves. And you can see, in South Africa, the demographics are flipped to this country. So in South Africa, you've got a 10% white population, essentially, which still managed to subjugate an entire nation. So 20,000 in a city of people who think that way could actually do some harm if you don't say, hey bro, this is America and we think differently here. So there's got to be some level of dispersal for immigrants. If you want them to really feel a part of their new home and allow themselves to take some of the things off their cultural shelf and put new things up, excuse the dribbles, it's cold out. If you don't allow them a space to do that by encouraging them to be reclusive in their own old methodologies, all you're doing is undermining the own local American cultural fabric that is so hospitable in the first place. Pretty soon, in the hypothetical situation of an all Afrikaner enclave that only speaks Afrikaans and would like to preserve themselves, here in the US, you'd say, hold up a minute, you're not allowed to do that. You gotta let whoever wants to be there, be there. So, and today we're seeing this in different ways, and what it looks like now is there's Christian bakeries getting sued for not baking cakes, but no one's gone and tried to get a Muslim bakery to bake them a gay cake, and I challenge someone to go do that, because I think the results, you don't have to assume much to know that they might object. And if we can't criticize all of our new Americans as openly as we do the old ones, then mentally you're almost admitting that you don't see them as Americans or equal to us. So to then say it's other people who have the phobia is a bit dishonest. My second point is that if you let everyone in, again, okay, from personal experience, I currently have family members in South Africa and Zimbabwe, and every year and a half or so there's news of a robbery or a break-in or a mugging. My own, there's been deaths in the family, murders, and these are, gangland, execution style, in the street kind of stuff. So if you let everyone in, what essentially happens is, this is a oversimplification, but imagine I'm running to a plane with my family, right? Trying to flee a place. And our situation wasn't that bad when we were leaving, but let's pretend everyone coming in is a refugee from a violent place, because you could halfway make that argument for a place like South Africa. So these refugees are running to the plane, and they're being chased out by people with guns. They're refugees, they're being displaced from their homes. If the people chasing them just have to put down their guns and are allowed to walk right on the plane behind me, I'm not going to feel very comfortable on the way back. I'm not going to feel very comfortable knowing even, oh, you're South African? Oh, that's cool. Do you want to kill me? I don't know. If you don't vet people, if you don't have some sense of criteria, you're allowing in the violent agents, you're allowing in people with a chip on their shoulder, with a score to settle. And it takes a lot to put that down and set up a new life. You have to leave that baggage behind. And if you let people that are chasing the capable and good people, the well-intentioned immigrants, out of their home countries, if you let the people that are chasing them out into the country as well, you're going to get a microcosm of the exact same situation. And you see this now with the cartels. You see legal Hispanic immigrants suffering because they feel pressured to harbor or be silent in the face of illegal activity. And it's just sad. It leads to deaths, and it leads to injuries, and it leads to preventable crime. It leads to preventable breaking up of families. And that's what bothers me so much is the argument is, oh, you can't, do anything about deportation because it breaks up families. I'm sorry, but so do the murders, so does the immigration itself. Any of these things. So those are just some thoughts. If you have any comments, questions, leave them down below. I'll see what I can do to respond. And if you have any further information or even argumentation, bring it at me. Again, I can only speak from my own experience, and I don't know what anyone else has been through their eyes. I try to as much as I can, so share it with me. And if you see the same things I do, let me know. All right, peace.